What's going on, guys? As you can see, we're taking a look at the OnePlus 13, and we're just going to go over some tips and tricks to help you get the most out of your device. I'm going to do my best not to make this video too long, but just in case, I will include timestamps, so feel free to use those to navigate throughout the video. So the first thing we're going to do is go into our settings, and you have a few different ways to get there. You can just swipe down from the top of the screen. You got the gear icon right there in the upper right hand corner. You could click that, or if you wanted to, as you can see, I have my OnePlus folder here on my home screen. And if I go there, I've got a way to get to the settings there as well. So now that we're in the settings, we're just going to scroll down. And the first thing we're going to take a look at is System and Update. When you get a new device, I always recommend that you check to see if there are any current firmware updates to be had. So you can click on System Update. And right now, as you can see, we are up to date. But if there was an update, this is where you would find that information. And you want to make sure you are up to date so you can have access to all the latest features. So let's go ahead and go back to the System and Update tab once more. And another thing to take a look at while we're in here is the system navigation. So you have the option to choose gestures, or you can choose buttons. The difference with gestures, you just use swipes on the screen to navigate the phone. And then with buttons, if you choose that, you have your dedicated home button down there at the bottom. You have the dedicated back button and the recent task button as well. For now, I'm going to leave it on gestures. I feel pretty comfortable using that, so we'll stick with that for now. Also, if we scroll down to the bottom here, you can see you have the circle to search and the digital assistant from Google. You have both of these turned on, and I can show you how that works. So basically, if you go to anything on your phone, if you're looking at something, whether it's social media, whether it's Google, if you take your finger and you hold the bottom of your screen just like that, this animation will pop up, and basically you can circle whatever is on your screen to conduct a search. So let's say we circle this car right here, and basically Google will use that image and conduct a Google search so that you can get more information on that car. Now, keep in mind that we're using the gestures option, so there are no buttons down here. But if you were using the buttons where you have the home button down there on your screen, all you would do is tap and hold the home button. So let's go ahead and go to our home screen. And then you also have a similar feature where you can swipe up from the bottom edges of your screen, whether it's the left or the right, and it basically will open up your Google Assistant. So you can see it's basically picking up what I'm saying here. And if you wanted to conduct a search, you could easily do that just by doing that. And just to show you again from the other side this time, swipe up from that right corner and it brings up your assistant. So now we're back in the settings tab, and this time we're going to go to the accessibility and convenience section, and we're just going to scroll down to the bottom and we're going to go to power button. So for me, I prefer to have the power button to where you press and hold it and it activates your power menu. I believe by default, you have to hold the power button and the volume up button to activate the power menu. I don't really like that. I prefer to have it to where you just press it, hold it, and you can choose to restart the phone or turn it off. So if that's the case for you as well, that is where you can make that change. Again, that's under accessibility and convenience. Go down to the bottom, power button, press and hold the power button, and choose power menu instead of digital assistant. So let's go ahead and go back. There's a few other things under that accessibility and convenience tab that we're going to take a look at. So the split view, you do want to make sure you have this turned on. That's going to be for multitasking between two devices at once. We are going to take a closer look at that later in the video, but for now, just make sure you have it turned on. And the same thing for the smart sidebar. Just make sure you have that turned on as well. That gives you some additional options as far as multitasking and having multiple things open at once. A few other things to take a look at while you're in here. You also have the one-handed mode. So if you're somebody that has smaller hands and you want to make it easier to use your phone with just one hand, you can activate this feature, and then all you have to do is come at the bottom of the screen and you can simply press and swipe down like that. And it pretty much just shrinks the screen so that you can simply navigate with one hand. That way you don't have to stretch and try to reach things all the way in the upper half of the screen. And then when you're done, you can simply swipe up just like that to go back to the full screen mode. Another thing to take a look at while you're in here is the glove mode. So if you turn this on, this is going to make it easier to use the screen and navigate the display when you have gloves on, specifically wool and sheepskin gloves. So right now it's wintertime. So if you're outdoors and you don't want to risk your hands being cold, but you still need to check something or navigate to something on your phone, this feature could be helpful in that situation. Now, when it comes to screenshots, the 13 is pretty standard like most other phones, where all you have to do is press the power button and the volume down button at the same time. But you do have some other options as well. So if you come in here, this is where you can see those options and how to activate them. So you have the option to swipe 3 fingers down on the screen to do a screenshot, or if you want to do a partial screenshot of just a section of the screen, you could activate this right here, where you basically touch and hold with 3 fingers, and then you adjust the size of the screenshot as needed. We'll take a closer look at that a little bit later as well. But for now, let's go ahead and go back and let's actually take a look at the quick launch options. And this is actually really cool. So what you can do is you can choose specific apps that you want to have access to by using the fingerprint scanner. So if I actually just come in here, go to the home screen and turn the phone off. And then if I press my thumb and hold it and then go up like that, you can see it chooses a little list of apps that I can access by using that fingerprint scanner. So if I wanted to go to Netflix, just like that. And again, you can edit which apps you want to have access to, and you can choose a total of 5, as you can see right here. So from there, we're just going to go back. We're still under the accessibility and convenience tab. And this time we're going to go to gestures and motions, and we're going to go to screen off gestures. And this is actually really cool. So you have a few different options and things that you can activate when the screen is actually off. So you can see I have the option to draw an O on the screen to open the camera, and I have the option to draw the letter V to turn on the flashlight. So let's actually show you how that works. Turn the screen off, and if I just do like this here, you can see it opens up the camera app. And let's go back, and this time if I do the letter V just like that, turns on the flashlight. Do it again and it turns it off. Now if you go back under the settings and go back to the same area, you do have some other options in there as well. So let's go back, screen off gestures. So you can see down here you can draw kind of like almost like a letter A to launch the calculator. You can draw an M to launch the Gemini, that's the assistant, a W to launch your recorder. So you got some other options in there to choose from as well. All right, so we're done with the accessibility and convenience tab. As you can see, we're just on the main settings page. And really quick, let's go to wallpapers and style. And obviously, this is where you can make changes to your wallpaper. You can also change the font and how big it is and how it looks. But let's actually take a look at the fingerprint animation. So if you come in here, this is where you can choose the specific animation that takes place when you're using the fingerprint sensor. Really simple, but it is a nice way to customize the phone. So as you can see, you can just go through these different options here. I prefer this one right here. It's actually called Fizz, but you got some other ones down here. You got this one called Flare, kind of looks like fireworks going off. So again, something that's very simple, but it is a nice way to just kind of customize the phone. Something else you can do to customize the phone is simply come to your home screen. And what you can do is just long press on the screen. And then you have these icons that pop up. And down here, you can make some changes here. So if you go to where it says icons, this is where you can change how the apps look on the screen. So you can just kind of click through here and look at the different options that you have. Personally, I prefer this one. I think it's called Radiance. And you can also update like the size, how big you want it to look, that kind of thing. So let's go ahead and hit apply. And then if we go back to where we just were, you can go over to transitions. And this is where you can change the animation that takes place when you're scrolling between pages. So it shows you an example when you go through each option, shows you how it'll look. And personally, I prefer the roll. That's going to be that one there. And again, these are just very subtle ways that you can just kind of customize your experience as you're navigating through the phone. Now, as soon as you get everything set up exactly how you want it, you have your desired wallpaper, you have the icons exactly how you want them, you have your preferred widgets. I recommend coming in here and going to where it says more and activating the lock layout option. So this is a way just to make sure you don't accidentally make any changes. So for example, if I come to my home screen and let's say by accident, I'm trying to delete this app, as you can see, it won't even let me. So again, once you get everything set up exactly the perfect way that you want it, that's just a way to make sure you don't accidentally make any changes. Next up, as you can see, we're back on the settings tab, and this time we're going to go to display and brightness. And this is where you can choose between light mode and dark mode. Personally, I prefer dark mode. That's where you have the black background. But if you wanted your traditional light mode with the white, you can easily select that right there. But again, dark mode is my preferred setup. And this is where you can also make changes to the screen resolution. So if you scroll down here, I just go ahead and put mine on high. That's going to give you the highest resolution and just overall the best viewing experience when you're using this device. I wouldn't really be too concerned about battery life or anything like that. I just want the best viewing experience. Not to mention you have that 6,000 milliamp hour battery. So this thing is going to be good even when you max out the settings. Now, speaking of the battery, let's go ahead and take a look at some options for that. We're back on the main settings page. And if we just scroll down and go to battery, this is where you've got some different options. You have the battery mode. So for example, if your battery is running low and you don't know when you're going to have access to a charger, you could come in here and activate the power saving mode or even the super power saving mode. And it basically limits the performance of the phone so that you can prioritize and extend that battery life. And then if we go back and we go to battery health, you have some other options in here. So you can activate the smart charging. And basically what this does is it tries to learn your charging habits in order to charge the phone in the most efficient way possible. And also in a way that kind of preserves the overall health of the battery. You can also set a total charging limit. So that will basically only let you charge the phone up to 80%. As you know, charging your phone all the way to 100% every single time does risk diminishing the overall lifespan of the phone's battery. So again, just some safety measures to try and help prolong the overall life of your battery. And then if we go back once again and we go into charging settings, this is where you can activate reverse wireless charging. So if you turn this on, you can actually use your phone to charge other devices. So whether that be earbuds or even another phone. From there, as you can see, we're back in the main settings tab. And this time we're going to go to connection and sharing, and we're going to go to share with iPhone. So if you're somebody that knows a lot of people that have iPhones, this is a way that you can send files back and forth. So basically what you want to do is go ahead and you want to activate this. And then what needs to happen is the person that you're trying to send files to that has the iPhone, they will need to download an app. It's called OnePlus Connect, and they need to have the app open. And then whatever file you're trying to send, for example, if we're trying to send a photo, you can pick the photo and then you can go down to where it says share. And then you can see it says share with iPhone. Let's go ahead and click that. And it is detecting the iPhone. So we're just going to go ahead and click on that. And then you can see on the iPhone, it says, do we want to accept? You simply click accept. And then it creates a hotspot for the iPhone to join. So we're just going to click join. And we're going to give things a couple seconds here. And as you can see, once it joins, it actually sends that file over pretty quickly. So that's just a convenient way to send files back and forth to somebody that has an iPhone. So earlier we talked about multitasking and running multiple apps at once. So let's go ahead and take a look at how to do that. So for example, if we have YouTube open and we want to open a secondary app, all we have to do is take 3 fingers and swipe up from the bottom of the screen, and then we can choose the app that we want. So if we want Google Chrome, as you can see, we just click on that and we have Google Chrome on the bottom and we got YouTube on the top. And then if I want to resize the apps, all I have to do is click this dividing bar in the middle, that gray bar. Click that and I can drag it however I see fit. Or if I want to switch sides for the apps, if I want the Google Chrome to be on top and YouTube on bottom, I can click that bar and then click swap sides. Now, if I want to exchange one of the apps for a different app, you can see you have these 3 little gray dots there. So if I click on that, I can actually swap out this bottom app for a different one. So if I click switch app, let's say I want to switch that out for my photo gallery. I can do that just like so. And now I have access to all of my photos. And then if I ever wanted to close out of one of the apps, again, I can click that dividing bar and I can just kind of drag that app out of the way there. And now I just have the Google Chrome. Now, earlier, we also talked about the sidebar, and you can use this to open floating window apps. So what you can do is just kind of click on that. You can see it opens up, and then you have access to pretty much whatever apps you want. You can click on all, and it gives you all of your apps there. So let's say we want to open the calculator in a floating window. Click on that, it opens it up, and we can also resize this. So you just kind of press on the corner, and then you can kind of go in and out to choose your desired size. You can also maneuver it around by clicking on the three dots, and then you can actually click the three dots again if you want to minimize it, and it just kind of parks it right there on the side, ready for you whenever you need it. So you can kind of drag it over again just like that. So that's a great way to multitask as well. Now, whenever you need to take a screenshot, all you got to do is take 3 fingers and you can swipe down on the screen just like that, and it captures a screenshot of the entire screen. But if you need to capture just a section of the screen, you can take the same 3 fingers, press and hold, and now you can basically draw a rectangle over the section that you want to screenshot. So as you can see, you can do it like that. And then you just simply press the little check mark and it'll save that to your camera roll. From there, let's actually take a look at some useful features when it comes to taking pictures. And one of the features I absolutely love is the action mode. If you look at this icon at the top, that little running person, when you have that selected, it will increase the sensor output from 30 frames a second to 60 frames a second. So if you're taking pictures of sports or any sort of fast moving subjects, this is going to come in handy, and basically it allows you to take a ton of pictures back to back to back to back. So just to show you an example, you can see it's almost like having a professional grade camera with an insanely fast shutter speed. Now, something else you can do, if we turn that off, you can also just press and hold the shutter button, and that will activate something called clear burst, which is very similar. So it's going to help you capture nice in focus shots whenever you have fast moving subjects. So again, that's very similar. You just press and hold it. And like I said, it comes in handy whenever you have those fast moving subjects. Another feature that's really useful, and this is actually on the photo editing side. So after you've taken a photo, let's say you took a photo through a glass display. Maybe you were at a museum or something like that. You're looking at an art piece through glass. Whenever you have reflections that show up, for example, in this photo right here, you see you got a pretty aggressive reflection right there. You have a new feature called reflection eraser. So you can see it's actually recommending this feature for this specific photo. But if this didn't come up on its own, what you can do is just go down and click on edit. And then you can go to the AI editor. And this is where you have the reflection eraser in here as well. So we can click on that. Go ahead and select that. We'll give it a second to do its thing. And then as you can see, it absolutely eliminated those reflections altogether. And then you can click this to kind of compare the before and after. So just to give you a closer look, that's the before with the reflections. And then that's the after with those reflections removed. So pretty cool stuff. So from there, let's actually take a look at the IR blaster. This is one of the very few phones that still has an IR blaster. So in order to access it, what you can do, if you're on your home screen, you can just swipe up to access all of your apps. And then you can scroll down until you get to IR remote. And basically this feature will allow you to use the phone as a remote for multiple devices. So this really works well with different TVs. And basically what you can do when you come in here, you can click on this plus sign and you can choose the type of device that you're trying to connect to and control. Like I said, I use this a lot with the TVs in my house. So I would just select TV, and basically it walks you through, you choose the brand of the TV, and it walks you through a number of steps to get it paired up and synced with the TV. That way, if you ever lost your remote, worst case scenario, you could then use your phone to control the TV. You could turn it on, you could change the channel, you could adjust the volume, so on and so forth. So from there, we're actually going to go back to the settings tab, and this time we're going to go to sounds and vibration, and we're going to scroll down to the bottom, and we're going to click on clear voice. So this is something that you could experiment with if you're ever out and about in a very busy or a very noisy location. Let's say you're out in a busy city, or maybe you're at a sporting event, a basketball game, football game, or something like that, and you need to make a phone call, and the person that you're talking to, they're just having a hard time hearing you. Again, this is something that you could experiment with. It's supposed to help eliminate background noise and just isolate the voice. So this could come in handy to give you a more comfortable conversation. And then last but not least, one of my favorite features actually, we're back on the main settings tab, and this time we're going to go to mobile network, and we're going to go to this feature called beacon link. As you can see, I already have it turned on, and I'm going to change this to all here. Now, if you have another OnePlus device, you can see right here, I have the OnePlus 13R. I already have this beacon link feature turned on this device. And basically this works like a walkie-talkie. So if you have this feature turned on both devices, these features can call each other. So you can see it's detecting the OnePlus 13R. I can click on that right there. And you can see this one is ringing right here. And basically you can communicate on these two devices. Let me hang that up there so it doesn't echo, but you can communicate on these two devices without a mobile signal. So for example, if you were going hiking in a remote location and it's you and another person, and just as a safety measure, you want to use that feature just in case you guys get separated or something like that, you could use that feature to still communicate, and you could effectively use these devices like a walkie-talkie. And supposedly it works up to 200 meters. So as long as you don't go further than that, you should be able to have a Bluetooth signal, and you should be able to communicate with each other. And again, that could be useful under certain circumstances. So that pretty much wraps up the list of tips and tricks for the OnePlus 13. Obviously, there's a ton more that you can do with this device. If there's any tips and tricks that you guys have, be sure to let me know in the comment section below. Other than that, hopefully you guys found the video to be helpful. Do me a favor, if so, give it a thumbs up. Also consider subscribing to the channel. And aside from that, I hope to see you guys in the next one.